Once again, the wandering soul begins its journey back. Have you ever felt caught in a relentless storm of emotions, where worry, stress, and angry reactions constantly barrage you? Are there nights when you lie awake, your mind racing with thousands of thoughts, endless arguments, and countless what-ifs with no way out? Take a deep, slow breath. Imagine yourself leaving the noisy modern world, where the sounds of car horns, phone alarms, and work pressures are slowly fading away. Tonight, allow yourself to sink into a peaceful space, where ancient wisdom will gently cradle you, carrying you beyond all stress and anger, to the deepest tranquility you have ever known. Close your eyes, release the weight of your long day, and let these timeless teachings wash over you like a healing river of calm. Your breathing will naturally slow and deepen as the noise of the modern world begins to fade. With each gentle breath, you are drifting backward in time, leaving behind the rush and urgency of daily life. 1. A faded encounter at an ancient temple. The familiar sounds of traffic and technology dissolve into silence, replaced by something far more ancient and peaceful. This calm river of tranquility is carrying you to a place where wisdom has been preserved for countless generations. You find yourself walking along a narrow mountain path in ancient Korea. The fallen autumn leaves crunch softly under your feet. The air is crisp and clean, carrying the scent of pine and the distant smoke of temple incense. Before you, a small monastery rises, its curved rooftops emerging from the morning mist like a vision from another world. Mysterious and enchanting, you can hear the gentle sound of a bamboo water feature somewhere in the distance. Tick, tick, tick. This sound marks the passage of time, a perfect rhythm that harmonizes with your own heartbeat. As you approach the monastery gates, you notice the carefully tended gardens that surround the buildings. Moss-covered stones sit in perfect harmony with raked gravel patterns, and a small stream winds its way between ancient trees. The morning sun filters through the canopy above, creating dancing patches of light that move across the path like gentle spirits. Welcoming you home, you can almost feel the centuries of peace that have settled into this place. Each stone and tree holds the wisdom of countless monks who have walked these same paths. 2. A storm of fury and unshakable peace. Suddenly, the tranquil atmosphere is shattered by angry shouting from within the courtyard. You hurry through the wooden gates and see a scene that stops you in your tracks. A wealthy merchant stands in the center of the peaceful space, his silk robes disheveled, his face red with fury. His voice echoes off the monastery walls like thunder disturbing a serene lake. And you can feel the tension radiating from his clenched fists and rigid posture. Master Woe, the merchant bellows, his words sharp as blades cutting through the morning air. I know you have influence with the local magistrate. You must help me recover my goods, or I'll make sure everyone knows how useless this place truly is. From his desperate words, you learn that bandits have stolen his entire caravan just 2 valleys away. And his whole world has collapsed in a single night. The other monks scatter like startled birds, their peaceful morning meditation shattered by this emotional storm. But your attention is drawn to a figure near the entrance who seems completely untouched by the chaos. Master Woe kneels beside a small rock garden, his weathered hands guiding a wooden rake through carefully arranged gravel. Each stroke creates perfect lines in the sand, and you can see how his movements mirror his breathing. Deep, steady, and completely unaffected by the fury swirling around him. The contrast is so striking that you find yourself holding your own breath. Watching this living demonstration of inner peace, you move closer, drawn by the master's extraordinary calm. The morning sun casts dancing shadows across the arranged stones, and in this moment, you feel time itself slowing to match Woe's unhurried pace. The rake makes soft scraping sounds against the small stones, creating patterns that seem to mirror the flow of water or the movement of clouds across an endless sky. Each line in the sand appears deliberate yet effortless, like watching a master calligrapher create poetry with simple strokes. The merchant's voice grows even louder, more desperate. Did you hear me, old man? I'm ruined. My family will starve. Everything I've worked for is gone. His words are designed to provoke, to force someone to share in his pain and urgency. You watch the master's face, expecting some flicker of reaction, some sign that this emotional assault is penetrating his serenity. But Woe's expression remains as peaceful as a mountain lake at dawn, undisturbed by the storm raging around its shores. 3. The power of calm. Then something shocking happens. The merchant steps directly into the rock garden, his expensive boots crushing the carefully raked patterns. You wince as you see hours of meticulous work destroyed in seconds. Look at me when I'm speaking to you, he demands, grabbing the rake from Woe's hands and throwing it aside. The wooden tool clatters against the stone pathway. And for a moment, the only sounds are the distant call of a mountain bird and the whisper of wind through bamboo leaves. You watch in amazement as Master Woe simply smiles. Not mockingly or condescendingly, but with the gentle expression of someone watching a child learn an important lesson. Without a word, he kneels down and begins smoothing the disturbed sand with his bare hands. His movements are so graceful, so utterly peaceful that you see the merchant step back involuntarily, as if touching something sacred. There's something almost magical happening here, and you can feel it in the air around you, like the approach of a gentle rain. You see, Woe speaks for the first time. His voice is calm as still water. When we react to life's storms with more storm, we only create greater chaos. Your anger, though understandable, cannot bring back your goods. Your demands, though passionate, cannot change what has already occurred. But your peace of mind, that is something no bandit can steal. No loss can diminish. No external circumstance can touch unless you give it away through reaction. You watch the merchant's entire demeanor begin to shift. Something in Woe's presence is working its magic. A transmission that happens not through words, but through pure being. The merchant's shoulders start to relax. And when he speaks again, his voice is quieter, more vulnerable. But Master, how can I not react? Everything I am is tied to what I've lost. My identity, my family's security, my future, it's all gone. You find yourself leaning forward, drawn into this moment of transformation. Woe nods with deep understanding, his eyes reflecting the wisdom of someone who has walked through his own fires of loss and emerged transformed. Let me share something with you, he says, settling into a comfortable sitting position on the garden's edge. You position yourself discreetly, sensing that something profound is about to unfold. 4. A lesson from the ashes. Many years ago, I too faced a loss that seemed to destroy everything I thought I was. I had spent decades building a reputation as a great scholar, writing commentaries that were revered throughout the land. Then one day, a fire consumed my entire library. Thousands of manuscripts, years of work, my life's achievement, all reduced to ash in a single night. The merchant sits down unconsciously, and you notice how the very quality of attention in the courtyard has shifted. Even the birds seem to be listening more quietly. Around you, the morning continues its gentle progression. Leaves rustle their timeless whispers, the sun painting everything in golden light that seems to bless this moment of sharing. What did you do? The merchant asks, his anger now completely replaced by genuine curiosity. I sat in the ashes and wept. Woe replies with complete honesty. For 3 days, I raged against fate, against the careless servant who had knocked over the lamp, against the wind that had fanned the flames. I was consumed by reaction, bitter, angry, devastated. But on the 4th morning, as I sat among the charred remains of my life's work, I noticed something extraordinary. A small green shoot had pushed up through the ash, reaching toward the light with such pure determination that it took my breath away. In that moment, I understood something profound. The fire had not destroyed my true work. It had only consumed the forms that work had taken. The master pauses, and you feel the weight of this revelation settling in your own heart. The wisdom, the understanding, the genuine insights, these lived not in the manuscripts, but in my being. By choosing to react with devastation, I was throwing away the very thing that made those writings valuable in the first place. The plant growing through the ashes taught me that our deepest treasures are not in what we can lose, but in what we can never lose. That is our capacity for peace, for wisdom, for choosing our response to whatever life brings. 5. Reaction versus response. You watch as the merchant's eyes fill with tears. Not of anger now, but of recognition. So you just accepted the loss? He asks, his voice barely above a whisper. I chose to respond rather than react. Woe clarifies gently. Reaction comes from the wounded part of us that believes we are only what we possess, what we've achieved, what others think of us. Response comes from the deeper part that knows who we truly are, the part that cannot be touched by any external circumstance. When I stopped reacting to the fire as a disaster and began responding to it as a teacher, Everything changed. The merchant wipes his eyes with the back of his hand. But practically speaking, Master, I still need to provide for my family. I still need to rebuild my business. How does not reacting help with those real problems? You see Woe's face light up with understanding. This is the beautiful paradox. He says, beginning to trace new patterns in the sand. When we stop wasting our energy on reaction, on anger, blame, despair, we have so much more energy available for effective action. After I released my rage about the fire, I was able to see clearly what needed to be done. I rewrote my most important works from memory. But this time, they were even better because they came from lived wisdom rather than just intellectual understanding. You watch the master's hands as he creates spiral patterns in the sand, each curve seeming to represent the endless cycles of loss and renewal that define human existence. That night, I went to bed with nothing. He continues, but I woke up with everything because I had remembered who I really was. The manuscripts were just the wrapping paper. The real gift was always inside me, waiting to be unwrapped by whatever circumstances life provided. The merchant stands up slowly, and you can see that something fundamental has shifted in his bearing. His shoulders are no longer hunched with anger, but straightened with a quiet dignity. I think I understand, he says, looking down at the patterns Woe has created. My goods are gone, but my ability to create value, to serve others, to build something meaningful, that's still here. The bandits couldn't steal that. Woe nods with deep satisfaction, like a gardener watching a seed finally sprout. Now you're beginning to taste the freedom that comes from not reacting. When we stop identifying ourselves with what can be taken away, we discover what can never be taken away. And from that place of unshakable peace, we can respond to any situation with wisdom and effectiveness. You watch as the merchant bows deeply to the master, his anger completely transformed into gratitude. Thank you for showing me the difference between reacting and responding. He says, I came here demanding that you fix my external situation. But you've done something far more valuable. You've helped me remember who I am beyond my circumstances. As the merchant prepares to leave, Woe hands him the wooden rake. Take this as a reminder, he says with a gentle smile. Whenever you feel the urge to react, remember the garden. Sometimes it gets disturbed, but it can always be made beautiful again with patience and presence. The same is true for your inner landscape. 6. The ultimate lesson in realization. You sit quietly as the merchant walks away, his step lighter than when he arrived despite having lost everything. The courtyard returns to its natural rhythm. Birds resume their songs. The bamboo fountain continues its eternal tick, tick, tick. The morning sun climbs higher in the sky. But something has fundamentally changed in the quality of peace. You've witnessed a miracle, not the magical kind, but the kind that happens when a human being chooses wisdom over reaction, response over reflex. Woe begins recreating the garden patterns, and you're struck by how he seems to enjoy starting fresh. There's no attachment to the previous design, no resentment about having to begin again. Each stroke of the rake is made with complete presence, as if this moment, this line in the sand, is the most important thing in the universe. Watching him, you begin to understand that this is what mastery looks like, complete acceptance of what is combined with joyful engagement with what's emerging. You seem puzzled, Woe says suddenly, looking up at you with eyes that seem to see right through to your soul. You realize you must have been staring, lost in contemplation. I was wondering, you find yourself saying, how you developed such incredible self-control. How do you not react even when someone is destroying something you've worked so hard to create? The master chuckles softly, a sound like water flowing over smooth stones. It's not about self-control, he says, setting down the rake and giving you his full attention. Self-control implies using force to suppress reaction. What I practice is more like self-standing. When you truly understand the nature of reaction, you naturally lose interest in it. Like a child who outgrows a toy, you lean forward, eager to understand this deeper teaching. Around you, the monastery continues its peaceful existence. Monks quietly go about their morning tasks. The garden returns to perfection under Woe's patient care. 7. Recognizing the root of reaction. Let me tell you about the nature of reaction, he continues, his voice taking on the quality of someone sharing a precious secret. Every reaction is actually a reenactment of an old wound. This statement hits you like a gentle lightning bolt. What do you mean? You ask, sensing that you're about to learn something that could change your entire approach to life. Watch carefully. The next time you react strongly to something, Wo suggests beginning to trace a new pattern in the sand, this time a simple circle that seems to represent wholeness. Notice that your reaction is usually much stronger than the situation warrants. That's because you're not just responding to what's happening now. You're responding to every time something similar happened in your past. The present moment becomes a screen onto which we project all our old pain. You think about times when you've overreacted to relatively small things. A criticism at work that sent you into a spiral. A friend's casual comment that ruined your entire day. Suddenly, Wo's words begin to make sense. So, when I react, I'm not really responding to what's actually happening. Exactly. The master nods with satisfaction. Reaction is always about the past. Response is always about the present. When that merchant was shouting at me, he wasn't really angry about his lost goods. He was reliving every time he had felt powerless. Every time life had seemed unfair. Every time his security had been threatened. His reaction had very little to do with me or this moment. And everything to do with his accumulated history of feeling unsafe in the world. The profound simplicity of this insight settles into your awareness like a key finding its lock. But if reactions are just old wounds playing out, you ask, how do we stop them? Wo's eyes twinkle with gentle mischief. We don't stop them, we see them clearly. Once you truly see that your reaction is not about the present moment, it loses its grip on you. It's like waking up from a dream. The moment you realize you're dreaming, the dream can no longer control you. He stands up and walks to a small stone basin filled with clear water, gesturing for you to follow. You can see your reflection in the still surface. And Wo drops a small pebble into the center. Ripples spread outward in perfect concentric circles, distorting your image. This is what happens when we react. He explains, the pebble is the external event, and the ripples are our emotional disturbance. Most people think the ripples are the problem and try to stop them with more action. Creating more ripples. You watch as the water gradually returns to stillness, your reflection becoming clear again. But if we simply observe without interfering, the natural state of clarity returns by itself. This is the secret of not reacting. We don't fight the ripples. We remember that we are the entire lake, not just the surface disturbance. The beauty of this metaphor moves through you like a gentle current. You realize that you've been identifying with the ripples your whole life, thinking that temporary emotional disturbances were the totality of who you are. So the practice is to remember our deeper nature, you ask? The practice is to rest in our deeper nature. Wo corrects gently. There's a difference between remembering something with your mind and resting in it with your being. Let me show you what I mean. He leads you to a small meditation pavilion overlooking the valley below. From this vantage point, you can see the winding path where travelers and merchants make their way between villages. The morning mist is beginning to lift, revealing terrace fields and distant mountains painted in shades of blue and purple. Sit here for a moment, Wo suggests, and simply be aware of being aware. You settle into the suggested posture, feeling the wooden floor beneath you and the gentle morning breeze on your face. At first, your mind wants to analyze this instruction, to figure out what being aware means. But gradually, you begin to sense something underneath all your thoughts and feelings. A spacious presence that is simply witnessing everything without being disturbed by any of it. It's like discovering that you've been living on the surface of an ocean, never knowing the vast depths that lie beneath. This awareness, Wo says softly, is what you truly are. It's what the merchant truly is. What every person you've ever met truly is. Thoughts come and go. Emotions rise and fall. Circumstances change constantly. But this aware presence remains unchanged. When you rest here, reaction becomes impossible because there's nothing to defend, nothing to protect, nothing that can be threatened. You sit in this recognition for several minutes, feeling a peace deeper than anything you've ever experienced. It's not the peace of having everything go your way, but the peace of knowing that who you really are cannot be touched by whatever way things go. From this place, you can imagine responding to any situation with clarity and compassion, free from the old patterns of reactivity that have caused so much suffering. A bell rings somewhere in the monastery, calling the monks to their next activity. You open your eyes to find Wo watching you with deep satisfaction. Now you've tasted what it means to not react, he says, not because you've suppressed anything, but because you've remembered what cannot be disturbed. This is the foundation of all wisdom, all compassion, all skillful action in the world. 8. Final words and the journey back. As you prepare to continue your journey through the monastery, Wo offers one final teaching. Remember that every person you meet is fighting the same battle, the battle between their reactive patterns and their deepest nature. When you can remain rooted in your own peace, you become a refuge for others to remember theirs. This is how wisdom spreads. Not through preaching, but through being. You walk deeper into the monastery grounds, carrying this profound teaching in your heart. The morning sun climbs higher, promising a day full of opportunities to practice what you've learned. In a distant courtyard, you hear the sound of monks chanting their morning prayers, their voices blending into a harmony that seems to echo the very rhythm of existence itself. Each note reminds you that peace is not something you must achieve, but something you must remember again and again, moment by moment, breath by breath. The chanting grows closer as you follow a stone pathway lined with ancient maple trees. Their leaves have turned brilliant shades of gold and crimson, and each gentle breeze sends a few floating down like nature's own meditation on impermanence. You catch one in your palm, a perfect maple leaf with intricate veins and delicate edges, and you're struck by how something so beautiful is already in the process of returning to the earth. You realize this is another teaching about not reacting. Everything in life is already in the process of changing, so holding on too tightly to any particular form is like trying to grasp the wind.